Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 8 English lesson on capitalization. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts. Grade 8. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of capitalization. All right, so our chapter is capitalization. Our subject is English Language Arts. We're doing grade 8. And the lessons that we are focusing on under the chapter on capitalization it is to correct capitalization. That is our lessons for today, to correct capitalization errors. All right. So when it comes to capitalization, firstly, when it comes to capitalization, we need to capitalize the start of our sentence. The beginning of our sentence needs to be capitalized, right? So the start of a sentence, we need to capitalize that. But also, there are different other things that needs to be capitalized, like titles of names, right? Like states, cities, names of people. Those are also things that needs to be capitalized. And we are going to look at a few of the things that needs to be capitalized, and basically if there's any errors that we'll basically see in the test, and then we basically need to correct those errors. All right. So we need to capitalize the names of people and the names of pets. So when we capitalize people, the names of people, the names of pets, your name needs to be capitalized. Your name, your second name, your surname, it needs to be capitalized. Also, the name of your pet needs to be capitalized. Unless it is, for example, you're just saying dog or this is my cat, then it's not capitalized. But if you are giving the name of your dog or the name of your pet, and then it needs to be capitalized. But if you just say, no, this is my dog, this is my cat, then we don't capitalize it, right? But if you say, this is my dog Spotty, this is my dog Rex, or something, then we need to capitalize that name of your pet, right? All right. So that is just one of the things that you need to capitalize, which is names of people, names of pets, right? Those are names that you need to capitalize. And remember, that is something that you should not be getting wrong because, I mean, your name, for starters, we know that that needs to be capitalized. And if you look at an example, right, then it is Laura, right? Or another example can even be your own name, or let's say, for example, Nadine, right? That is capitalized. Sparky, the name of your pet, right? It is capitalized. Next, when next the things or the names that also needs to be capitalized, we need to capitalize a title. We need to capitalize a title of respect if it is used with a name or as a name. You do not capitalize a title of respect if it is used as a common noun. Meaning, let's say, for example, you have your president. So if you are addressing or you are talking about your president, and then you're like, no, I'm talking about President Nixon, right? I'm talking about President Obama, Dr. Chen, I'm going to Dr. Chen, I'm going to Dr. Abrams, right? That is, we need to capitalize it. Like, for example, president, we capitalize, doctor, we capitalized. Because now it is being used as a respect title of a name or title of respect, but for a name. Because you say President Nixon, President Obama, President or Dr. Chen, Dr. Abrams, for example. But if you just randomly say, no, the president or a president, the doctor or a doctor, then that should be lower cases. That shouldn't be capitalized. All right. So next, what we need to capitalize also is we need to capitalize a title of a family, of a family member, if it is used with a name or as a name. Do not capitalize the title. Do not capitalize the title of a family member if it is used as a common noun. So say, for example, mommy. or Uncle Dave, that we capitalize. But if you just say, no, my mother, it's the uncle or an uncle, right? Then we don't use that. We don't capitalize that because that is being used now as a common noun. But if you maybe use mother as a name, because that is my mom, mother, right? Then we capitalize it. We also capitalize initials. J.K. Rowling, US for the United States, DVD, FBI, USB, right? Those abbreviations, initials, we need to capitalize, right? Especially titles. So especially titles. If you, for example, if your, let's say your name is John, then your initial, sorry, is going to be J for John. If your second name is Andrew, that's J-A. And if your surname is Jacobs, then it's J-A, Jacobs, right? That is your initial, and your initial needs to be capitalized. And then we need to capitalize the names of months, days of the week, holidays, including words like day and eve. So here it says we need to capitalize the months of the year. And there are 12 months in the year. So whenever we either write down the months of the year in a form of a date that you write down, whether it's in your book or in a diary at school, then we need to write with a capital letter. If you write down your birthday, and then of course you're going to write down your month, and then you also need to write that with a capital letter. Then we also have the days of the week. Days of the week also needs to be capitalized. And we have 7 days in the week. Sunday to Monday. So we need to capitalize our days of the week. We capitalize our months in the year, and we said we have 12 months in the year. Holidays. So there are certain holidays, like for example, Eid, and there's holidays like Christmas, right? When you make mention of words like Christmas, then that needs to be capitalized. So we capitalize words like Christmas, whether it is Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, we need to capitalize it. New Year's, we capitalize it because New Year's is basically, you know, let's say the start of a new year, so it is basically a holiday. New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, we need to capitalize that. All right. Then we also need to capitalize the names of historical events, periods, and documentations. So anything that has a significant meaning when it comes to our historical events, right? Things that has meaning. historical events that we are still going to be talking for years and years on end, that we need to capitalize. That needs to be written with a capital letter. We need to capitalize it because that is also showing, or let's say it's like also putting respect on it. So, of course, in different countries, we have different historical events that took place. So, whatever the historical event is within the country, it needs to be capitalized because these are things that are documented, right? These things are periods in history that we will still be talking for years and years on end, right? So far, like I say, these are things that you need to capitalize. Starting with your names of people, names of pets. Remember, if you just say, no, it's the girl, it's the boy, then that is not, we don't capitalize it. We don't capitalize dog, cat, unless it's the name of your dog or the name of the cat. Titles of respect, like doctor or president, if it is written as a name, then you capitalize it. But if you just say the president, a president, the doctor, a doctor, then we don't. The title of a family member, initials, abbreviations, names of months, days of the week, holidays, including words like day and eve, needs to be capitalized as well as historical events. All right, so there's actually quite a few things that needs to be capitalized. Actually, there's a lot of things that needs to be capitalized. We also need to capitalize languages, religions, nationalities, and proper adjectives. And if we think of languages, right? Like I am from South Africa, and in our country, we have basically 11 official languages, including sign language as an official language. So, which means that whichever language we speak, whichever language you write down, it needs to be capitalized. All right. And we see that if it maybe comes to language, right? Like I say, there are different languages. Remember, in each country, there are different languages that you speak, right? You have your religious languages, you have your cultural languages, you have just the languages that is that everybody speaks. Like for example, English is like a national language that everybody speaks. But then you have languages within your country that people also speak fluently. Then we have religions. All the different religions, there are a lot of religions. Whether you are Christian, Muslim, you're Hindu, you serve Buddhism, right? Hinduism. Religions are things that we need to respect, right? So we need to, with basically respecting it or put a title of respect to it, we need to write it with a capital letter. Nationalities like Canada, South Africa, right? Like your countries and your states, we need to write that with a capital letter. Provinces, like I say, provinces or states or continents, countries, we need to write that with a capital letter. All, oh, sorry, nationalities, sorry, like Canadian, South African, right? Some of you say that you are from Nigeria, Nigerian. So these are respected nationalities and it needs to be capitalized. And then also you have your proper adjectives that you need to also capitalize. It's not just any food, but it's Italian food, right? So those are things that you need to capitalize. Then we capitalize names of places, such as cities, states, countries, and other political divisions that are also just made mention of, like Cape Town, for example, Florida, America, Canada, right? Those are things that you need to capitalize. Madison County, right? So you need to capitalize names of places. Even places built by people, such as buildings, bridges, streets, or monuments, needs to be capitalized. All right. So, for example, of places that people have built, right, or places built by people, can be like your Linden High School. So, even schools, names of schools needs to be capitalized. If you're just gonna say, no, that's a school that I attend, no, we don't capitalize if you just say school. But if you give the name of the school, then it needs to be capitalized. Golden Gate Bridge, Washington Monument, and so on. There's actually quite a few. And remember, in each country, you have your different places that people have built. You have your different monuments, you have your different buildings, bridges, streets, things that stands out. And all of these things needs to be capitalized. We need to capitalize geographical features such as your bodies of water, mountains, deserts, forests, and continents. Early on, I made mention of continents that needs to be capitalized, like Africa, Asia, and America, North America, South America, right? Antarctica, the Nile River, right? Table Mountain, Mount Everest, all these things needs to be Sahara Desert. It needs to be capitalized because these are geographical features. It's your bodies of water, your mountains, deserts, forests, and continents. All right. We also need to capitalize direction words, right? So if it's like words like north, south, east, and west, if it is used as the name of a particular region, we do not capitalize it. So we do not capitalize a direction word if it is not used as a name of a region. So if you just say, oh no, go north, go south, then that needs to be lower cases. But if it's like North America, South America, Northwest, and so on, then it is capitalized. And we do not capitalize words like the or of unless it is the first word of a sentence. And there's a lot of capitalization errors that people do make, right? But keeping in mind, literally all the lists that I've just made, we need to capitalize it, especially if you are really placing value on these things. If you're putting respect on these things, like your nationality, your religions, your languages, monuments, right? Political divisions. So, this is but a few of the words or things that you need to capitalize. All right, so now we're going to aplusstudents.ca and we are going to correct capitalization errors. And we went over this whole list of basically things that you need to capitalize, right? That you need to keep in mind when it comes to capitalization. All right. So we already went over a few capitalization or words that you need to capitalize. Now we're going to click to correct the capitalization errors. And it says in 1910, the Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen became the first man to lead a successful expedition to the South Pole. Pardon. So we now need to look at that and correct the capitalization errors within that sentence. And if we were to identify a word that needs to be capitalized, we can say it is Roald, because this is the name of a person. So Roald is a name of a person, and that needs to be capitalized. All right, let's look at the next one. Here it says, last Wednesday, my boss flew to Europe for a technology conference on parallel program. We need to click to correct two capitalization errors. So we need to click two capitalization errors. And if we look at the two capitalization errors, right, then the first one is boss needs to be lower cases, and Europe needs to be capitalized, right? That is the two errors that we have identified within that specific sentence. And then before we go to our test, it says click to correct the one capitalization error. It says in terms of attendance, New York City has the largest St. Patrick's Day parade in the country. So in terms of attendance, New York City has the largest St. Patrick's Day parade in the country. What do you think is that capitalization error that we need to fix? And if we were to select our capitalization error, then country is a capitalization error because country needs to be a lower case. All right, so now we're going to our test, right? And we're going to correct capitalization errors. It says click to correct the one capitalization error. Last Wednesday, my boss flew to Europe for a technology conference on parallel programming. We need to click on that one capitalization error. Is it boss or is it Wednesday? Which one do we need to correct? Boss or Wednesday? All right, and if we were to choose the capitalization error, and then we will say it is boss because boss needs to be lower cases, not capitalized, unless that was the first word of the sentence. All right. Alaska was officially proclaimed the 49th state of the United States on January 3rd, 1959. We need to click to correct two capitalization errors. Is it option one, capitalized state and capitalized January, or option two, state needs to be lowercase and January needs to be capitalized? And if we were to choose our correct era, state needs to be in lower cases, January needs to be capitalized. So option two is correct. We need to click to correct one capitalization error. China is the largest county or country, sorry, located entirely in Asia, the world's largest continent. If we capitalize our error, is it option one, Asia needs to be capitalized, or option two, worlds needs to be capitalized? So is it Asia or worlds? And if we choose the correct era, then we're going to say Asia needs to be capitalized. So Asia is capitalized. All right, we need to click to correct two capitalization errors. It says by urban population, Mexico City, the capital of Mexico, is the largest city in North America. So if we, you know, fix our or correct a capitalization error, is it option one? Capital needs to be lower cases, Mexico capital letter, or population capitalized, Mexico capitalized. Which one is correct? And if we choose the capitalization error, we will say option one, capital, lower cases, Mexico capitalized. The next one says we need to click to correct the one capitalization error. It says Edward R. Murrow was a famous American journalist who became a household name during the World War II when a series of radio news broadcasts were followed by millions of listeners. So we need to choose our capitalization error. It must journalist be capitalized, or must world be capitalized? And if you were to choose the correct one, we will say world for World War II, because World War II needs to be capitalized. All right, and the next one says we need to click to correct one capitalization error. It says due to the success of her popular children's books, J.K. Rowling is now one of the most well known and best selling British authors of all time. We need to correct our capitalization errors. Is it authors needs to be with lower cases or British still capitalized? You need to choose the correct one. So option one, authors, lower cases, or option two, British capitalized. The British is capitalized. And if we choose the correct option, authors needs to be lower cases. So authors needs to be lower cases. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on capitalization. There is a list of things, names of people, names of pets, names of historical um, events, monuments, deserts, buildings, states um, that we need to capitalize, right? So you need to be careful when making any forms of capitalization errors, right? And whenever you do, then you basically just know how to fix it, as in whatever that needs to be lower cases or whatever that needs to be capitalized. All right, so this is the end of our lesson on capitalization. Thank you very much for joining the class, and I really hope you're going to have a good evening further. So, till next time, goodbye.